Hey, Scott from Aristocob.com here.
And Seth from SethMarkwood.com.
Together along with you, the three of us, we are Markwood Men's Breakfast Club, and welcome once again. Welcome to Tobacco Advent 2019, day 23. And good morning, boy.
Good morning, Homer.
How you doing?
I'm excellent. How are you?
Good. Doing well. Doing well.
Good.
So let me introduce today's tobacco, if you don't mind.
I don't.
Got a great email from somebody who said, let me just go up to, I have scrolling through an email here, commented on how they have enjoyed the content and what they see at Tobacco Advent and on my channel, and said, hey, Scott, would you be interested in trying out a new tobacco? To which I said, well, sure, I'd be interested in trying out a new tobacco. So this is from, why don't you go ahead and hold that up, from Cup O' Joe's. Cup O' Joe's, premium tobacconist online, and they said they'd like to send us a tin of their new Cup O' Joe's Anniversary Blend number 23. Can you guess why we chose today for number 23?
Pretty good timing.
Yeah, it is a Virginia Perique crumble cake released specifically to celebrate our 23rd year as a premium online tobacco reseller. And here's some great news. We'll put a link to this in the video. If you're interested in this tobacco, they're offering 10% off this blend just by using the code Aristocob. Where did they get that? It's a great code name.
Yeah.
And let's see, also just a few more bits of shout out. Kathleen Kelly is the owner, and we just want to say thank you very much for supporting Tobacco Advent this year. Look at that. That's actually two. Look at that. Now, that's kind of cool. Let me give that a whiff. Y'all know what a fan of Perique I am. It's not very strong Perique.
Well, it hasn't been opened up yet.
Okay, you do that. They also sent along some espresso malted milk balls. We, of course, being on a low-carb diet, we took a quick look at this and realized he can have one and I can have about half of one.
Yep.
And they sent along some other swag. So thank you very much, guys. We really do appreciate the support. My goodness, look at that. Espresso malted milk ball. Do you like malted milk balls?
I do. I don't like coffee, so we'll see. Here you go.
I'm actually not ready for that yet.
Well, try them all. Malted ball, then.
I do like malted milk balls.
See?
I do. It's not like a go-to candy. Like I'm drawn to it. I don't think I've ever bought a malted milk ball.
Really?
I don't think so.
There's a name brand that makes them.
Yeah.
My brain's trying to fill in.
Like M&M Mars or Peter Paul or somebody makes
My
them.
brain's saying Milk Duds, that's not it. Something like Sugar Daddy, that's not it. Milk Daddy, definitely not it. That's really good. It's not strong espresso.
No, it's not.
I didn't think.
It's not. All right, so Kathleen is going to be receiving the ornament and the cornament. And let's get to our question of the day. The question of the day, what book or movie have you seen or read recently that you would recommend, and why?
Well, one of those is super easy for me. Oh man, super easy. If you are a fan of fantasy, if you're a fan of fantasy, you would definitely enjoy the Mistborn trilogy, or technically there are 6 books, but they're broken up into 2 trilogies. It's by Brandon Sanderson, and he in the Mistborn, the original trilogy, just does a phenomenal job of building this world, building a system of magic that's very unique And man, he just really. So he creates this magic system, right? That is very complex, and what he does incredibly well is there might be a fight between these two users of magic, each with varying levels of complexity in the magic they're using, and so it could be a very confusing and complicated fight because of the different mechanics that are at play. Think things like being able to increase or decrease gravity felt on somebody, or pushing and pulling, like force push and pull kind of deal, and speeding up and slowing down time. It could be very complex. He handles the descriptions of that very complex action sequence incredibly well, and so it's very easy to follow. I just devoured the initial 3 books. And what's interesting is he builds this world. In the world for the second trilogy, there's a big time jump, and you're dealing with new characters, and so the rules of the world have changed. The rules of the magic have changed a little bit, and so you're now familiar with, but getting a new understanding of how these mechanics change in this completely different time period. So the first one has, sometimes you're dealing with archers, and in the next one there are guns. And so imagine how someone that could maybe influence the trajectory of a arrow with their magic may fare against a gun, and how that could be different. It's really great. I've enjoyed it so much that I've jumped right into another one of a series which has a completely different and completely equally complex, or if not more complex, magic system. And the books are like 5 times longer. So I'm not usually a fan of like high fantasy books because they just get too bogged down in the details. He doesn't do that. So if you like action, like
when you say high fantasy, what do you mean by that?
Tolkien, and many that come after, where when an author spends 10 pages describing the setting, describing the food on a table, describing just going really, really bogged into the details, that's too much for me. Give me action and dialogue, and I'm real happy. Give me deep plot setting or like too much political intrigue, I get bored. And so Tolkien, I've struggled with.
What do you think of Stephen King as an author?
Never have read any of his stuff.
Really?
Not once.
Okay.
I mean, I've done Crichton, a couple of his books I've enjoyed. Again, as long as it's not just way too much. I struggle with The Lord of the Rings. I couldn't read it. I tried several times. Same with The Hobbit. Tried several times. Couldn't get through the first couple of pages. Now, it's been a while since I've done that. There was another book that was like that. I really, really struggled with. So that one, Mistborn, check it out. Brandon Sanderson. It's great.
And this is not the follow-up to the Bourne Identity, but a female character?
It is a female character. Totally different storybook.
Okay. So I'm going to give you one of each. And the first one is a Stephen King novel called 11/22/63. So 11/22.
There was a TV show.
63.
Based off of that.
It was direct to Netflix,
James Franco,
and it was
right?
so bad.
Was it?
So bad.
Yeah. Isn't that like par for the course for Stephen Films
yes.
adaptations?
Oh yes.
Yeah.
I am not one to say, oh, the movie was or the book was so much better. Even though they usually are, I understand that they have to adapt it with a screenplay to, they can't tell the whole story that's in the book because the book has unlimited time. Movies, you got to narrow them down. It's like Ender's Game, the book, so much better than the movie. The direct to Netflix basically was like a 2-part miniseries, I think, was horrible. But 11/22/63 being the date that John Kennedy was assassinated. And a character in this book finds a portal to an earlier time, years before 1963, and realizes that, you know what, if I can go back in time to that era, I can stop the assassination.
Right.
Or can I? And so he experiments a little bit with going back in time and doing something to see, does it have the butterfly effect. He goes back to modern time and is able to check what the effect was of making that change. And then the story takes it forward. And here's the deal, he goes back in time and he has to live in that time for a couple years, living up to 63. And he ages during the time that he's gone. So he comes back through the portal, and it's a minute after he left, but he's now a couple years older.
Right.
And the effects of that. Really good book. And Stephen King, some of his movies have been made that have been good, but they are all big budget. So like The Green Mile, Shawshank Redemption.
It.
I would say It, yeah.
The original Tim Curry.
The current movie is way better than the TV series, but that was just because, again, of the budget. Did I say The Green Mile?
You did.
Shawshank Redemption.
You did.
There was another one. Dang it, The Shining. So some of those books were adapted very well. However, if you read the book, not exactly the same as the movie. But 11/22/63, read the book, skip the miniseries. Some of the very best, most interesting moments in the book aren't there at all. Kind of like the battle room in Ender's Game.
No, I was there, but briefly.
Yeah. Movie I recently saw on a flight on Delta. I saw The Upside.
Yeah.
And stars Kevin Hart and Bryan Cranston, and it also has Nicole Kidman. It's very formulaic. You know what's going to happen in the end of the movie, and in fact, the beginning of the movie is the end of the movie, and then they say 6 months earlier, and they take you to earlier. So you know how it's going to play out. But still, it was an entertaining movie. So I would recommend. Probably going to be on Netflix if it isn't already, very, very soon. Kevin Hart is not playing a comedic character in this movie. Not to say that there aren't moments that you're going to laugh.
Yeah.
But Bryan Cranston's character is a quadriplegic, and Kevin Hart is hired to basically be his caretaker / assistant, and has to basically do everything for him. But he is a fish out of water.
Right.
That is not something that he was prepared to do. And anyway, I recommend it. Pretty good movie.
All right, so I'll throw one out there. It's not new and it's not one I've seen recently. But speaking of Kevin Hart, the new Jumanji movie comes out this weekend. Did you see the original new Jumanji movie?
I did.
What'd you think?
I thought that it was a clever twist on the idea.
It is
very clever.
Shockingly good. It is shockingly good. I've seen it twice now. Neither time did I feel like I was wasting my time. Neither time. I mean, I recommended it to my wife. If you've not seen it, it's definitely worth the watch. It is, like you were just saying, totally exactly what you expect.
Just the twist on the characters
is great.
It's so great. Clever.
Yeah. If you've heard anything about that, you know exactly what you're getting into, but
I didn't care for the first movie, the one long time ago with Robin Williams. I was too old when I saw it. It didn't capture my imagination, and I didn't care for it.
If you've not seen it, the biggest difference is players of Jumanji end up going into a video game, and where the real comedy comes from, or a lot of the comedy, is the fact that the actors are playing characters that are across their type as actors, right? So you've got the scrawny nerdy kid is played by The Rock. And you've got the big tough football player is played by Kevin Hart. And you've got a popular girl, the hot girl, is played by Jack Black. And so it's very, very funny watching them play the people that are supposedly playing the game that they're in. It's great. And I've heard pretty positive things about the second one. I've heard that it ticks all of the boxes for exactly what you expect of the sequel. But what's interesting is some of the players are now different.
I know that you saw the YouTube videos with Dwayne Johnson and Kevin Hart pretending to be each other. Oh my gosh, that is just so funny. These guys obviously spent enough time with each other, and they're good studies of personalities and characteristics. Very funny interviews. All right, so what do you think of the tobacco?
I really like it.
I knew you would because of the perique. It's not, I wouldn't say terribly perique forward.
It's not. No. I mean, I've noticed you've not stopped smoking it, which is a good sign that it's not overwhelming.
Yeah.
But I really like it. I'm gonna take this. Can I take this?
Maybe.
Yeah, I'm gonna take it. Fine. Thank you.
Yeah, it's 50 grams. So it's a good quantity. Use the code Aristocob for 10% off. Thank you, folks at Cup of Joe's, and thank you in particular, Kathleen, for reaching out to us and supporting Tobacco Advent, Mark Levin's Breakfast Club. We appreciate it very much. And with that, answer our question down below. Put a link to your video. By the way, they're just by default the way YouTube vets videos or vets comments. If there's a hyperlink in a comment, it usually goes to the spam folder. You can see the post and we can see the post, but it's not shared with everybody until we go and approve it. And I don't necessarily catch those immediately.
Trying to do that.
So we're trying. We're trying. But I would recommend going back and checking out some of the previous videos and look at some of those video responses. I also have created a playlist of all those video responses, and you can see them in a playlist.
And we continue to get really good responses to videos from several days back as well. So again, thank you guys for watching. We'll see you tomorrow.
Make it a great day.